as much as we can be very dismissive of what a TJ Jones brings to the table, or an Andy Jones, or somebody at the end of the roster. When you are in a room together with a guy, the wide receiver room, and you're playing the same position, you might become very close, and you just don't want to publicly say, "Yeah, I'm cool with somebody else coming in here and taking my boy's job." You know what I mean? He just might be showing deference to the guys that are currently Detroit Lions.
Absolutely. And that's probably what it is, more than anything else. Because I don't think Kenny Golladay doesn't strike me as a brash individual.
No.
You
talk to him
pretty
the whole
humble.
time.
Yeah, he's very quiet and reserved, and I don't think it's necessarily in his nature to go out and slam something. That's why, with the follow-up question, gave him the opportunity to say, well, look, no offense to Antonio Brown, and I'm glad he said that. So I think what you're saying is actually give it some more time to marinate and think about it. It's just deference to the guys in a room. We can do this job.
Yeah.
We don't need to bring somebody else in. We got this.
But if he's called into Bob Quinn's office and say, hey, we can get Antonio Brown for a second-round pick, how do you feel about it? He might say, well, I mean, how do you say no to that? He might agree to, you know what I mean?
Maybe, although I don't think they'd ever bring him into the room and ask him about it. But, yeah, I understand what you're saying.
The point being, what he says publicly might be different than what he would say privately. 248-539-9797. Lori on a cell. Hi, Lori.
Hey, how you doing?
We're good, Lori.
I guess I just want to say, no offense to him, but, you're saying that you guys are getting the job done, or you can get the job without him. You're not doing that. And I guess unless you're going to the Super Bowl this year, or even the playoffs, actually, or next year or the year after, then we have time to worry about us. But if you're not, then you need to worry about getting the team together. And that means bringing in whoever you need to that can build that team to be better. Because if you're good now or you're great now, adding somebody to the team that can help you go to the Super Bowl, that would make your play even better, I would assume. You know what I mean? And clout with the fans, as a fan, clout with me means that you're winning.
Yeah.
There's so many losing seasons here, the job's not getting done.
There's part of me that wants the players to do anything possible to win a Super Bowl. In fact, I don't know if that's part of me. That's a big part. I in spite of the fact that it's a business, in spite of the fact that there's people involved, one of the things that I'd like to hear more than anything is we'll do anything to win a Super Bowl. And we'll take anyone to win a Super Bowl. And what the city deserves is a Super Bowl. And we will not rest and we will not be satisfied until we are holding the Lombardi Trophy, right? I mean,
exactly.
And that's, if that means getting Antonio Brown, if that means, but think about it in your job, in anybody's job, you're asked to take a lesser role. Maybe your future earnings are impacted by that, but your company's successful. How many people are going to say, yeah, that's awesome? Now,
I got to tell you, probably not many people would, but I have. You know what I mean? I have in that position because I know that it was, if I get the company further, the profits go down to me, in the same aspect as if I go out there and I continue to not perform every week and not change, I would be fired. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like
I know what you're saying.
Two-edged thing there.
I know what you're saying. But,
I guess I just feel like I'm not a Lions fan, so I love that they're in our city, of course, but I haven't been a Lions fan for a long time. I would love to be one, but I just don't see that. I think it's just too laid back. Like, yeah, if we win, we win. If we don't, we don't. It's okay. We're still making money. It's just I'd like to bring winning to the state, to the team, so that way the fans, it would build everything. The sports programs, the economy,
I mean, a Lions Super Bowl victory would be like something we can't even imagine what it would be like. I mean, the parades were great for the Red Wings and the Pistons, without a doubt. I don't really have much recollection of an '84 celebration other than Bubba in the car, but but the reality is it would be like nothing we've seen.
No.
Let's go to George on a cell. You're next. Hi, George.
Hey, how you doing?
What's
up,
up,
George?
Hey, I just wanted to say, I think it's just self-confidence that Golladay is saying, he just want Antonio Brown on the team, because what would Matt Stafford say hey, we could get Tom Brady on this team? Pretty sure he'd say, I could do it.
Well, it's a little different in that there's only one quarterback on the field.
Right.
But, I don't think that, Kenny Golladay could be on the field with Antonio Brown. And he would be on the field with Antonio Brown.
But maybe giving up a first round, a third round, and a defensive player, I think you said. And that's a lot to give up if you feel like I can be Antonio Brown. Maybe he's thinking now. I think he's self-confident.
That's valid. I do wonder how much of this answer is motivated by, I am the next Antonio Brown. I am the next elite receiver in this league. And I don't think I think probably a lot of receivers think that. But I think he's perfect. I think he's capable of it. I think even if he might think it, but I think he's also capable of it. I think he's trending in that direction. So it's not like Brandon Powell is telling us don't bring in Brandon Powell's a slot receiver, but not like Brandon Powell's saying don't bring back Golden Tate. I got this. It's a guy who I think has shown a lot of capability that he's trending to being that.
Now, we debated a lot yesterday about whether or not it would make sense for the Lions to go ahead and trade for Antonio Brown, and there was that story that actually had a proposed trade, what would it cost? And that I was driving home yesterday. I was listening to Mike Valenti talk about the trade proposal as well. And Mike turned it into something interesting. He kind of shot down the idea of, because this doesn't make sense to go for Antonio Brown. He goes, here's what I would do. And he said, sign Kareem Hunt. And then you start comparing the two and the impact that either player would have on the team. And the way that things are in the NFL, where you look at teams, you have to be able to run the football. You got to be able to throw the football too. But to run the football, if you had Kareem Hunt alongside Kerryon Johnson, it would be one of the best tandems in the league. Right. And it comes with basically little risk. You're not giving up any players or any kind of draft picks in compensation because he's a free agent. You're not going to have to pay him all that much because there's obviously this dark cloud over him right now. So what you're looking at is dealing with the potential PR mess and trying to coach him up to get in front of cameras and microphones and show that he is very, very remorseful over what happened in the past, and he's going to be a model citizen moving forward.
Well, I'll tell you why I'm against it, all right? It has nothing to do with football, obviously. It has everything to do with I've over the years watched many an interview after somebody's offered up an apology, and some of them have really resonated with me and I thought were really good, and others I didn't buy in, okay? I'll just say when I watched the Kareem Hunt interview, I wasn't buying. And it has nothing to do with anything other than I just didn't feel I didn't feel it, if that makes any sense. And it was after that that more video surfaced of him in various confrontational states. There's more to every story, but it would take a lot of vetting and a lot of convincing before I'd get on board with that. But as far as a football player, sure.
Because you can get a guy who was the best in the league.
Yep.
Best in the league at his position, arguably, for little cost.
248-539-9797. We'll get to more of your phone calls. The Gators follow up to Kenny Golladay. If you missed it earlier, we'll play the entire interaction today at 10:35. As he says, he doesn't really want Antonio Brown with the Detroit Lions. It's Karsch and Anderson, 97.1 The Ticket.